I was 29 when I died. It happened on a quiet Tuesday afternoon. A freak allergic reaction. 1 second I was sipping iced coffee with oat milk, laughing about something stupid my roommate said, and the next, I couldn't breathe. My throat closed. My heart stopped. The world went black. They said I was gone for 34 minutes, clinically dead, flatlined. But in that time, I experienced something that shattered everything I thought I knew about life, about death, about love. I woke up, or came to, or whatever word fits, in a place that didn't look like anything I expected. There were no golden gates, no clouds, just light, everywhere, endless. Warm, not blinding, but not quite earthly either. I stood, barefoot, in a vast open field with grass that shimmered like glass and wind that whispered names I'd long forgotten. I looked down. I was me, not some spirit, not some formless ghost, just me. Every scar, every mole, every inch of myself I'd once been ashamed of was still there, but it didn't feel heavy anymore. That's when he appeared. Not a man in a robe, not an old bearded figure, just presence, something ancient, infinite. It felt like looking into every childhood memory of being held, safe, warm, magnified 1,000 times. I couldn't see a face, but I knew it was God. And in that moment, my heart swelled with hope and terror, because I knew what I had to ask. Am I allowed here? There was silence. Not the kind that's empty, the kind that listens, the kind that weighs everything. Even though I'm gay? The light shimmered. I braced myself for the answer I was taught my whole life to fear. That I was wrong, dirty. That love, the kind I felt for another man, was unholy. Instead, what I heard was laughter. Gentle, warm laughter. The kind a parent gives a child who's just asked if the stars fall when you sleep. God spoke, not in words, but in knowing. Who told you that my love has conditions? I fell to my knees, because suddenly I realized it wasn't heaven that had rejected me. It was me who had rejected heaven, because I believed the lie that I was unworthy. All those years in church pews, hearing sermons twist scripture into shame. All those nights praying, God, take this away, begging to be normal. I had built my own hell from bricks of fear and rejection. You are not broken, the voice said. You are exactly as I made you. My image is in every part of you, including who you love. I cried. Not because I was sad, but because the truth set me free. I was shown things not as punishment, but as awakening. Moments from my life. My first crush in middle school. The tears I hid from my parents. The night I almost took my own life at 17 because I believed God hated me. But I was also shown something else. Every moment I showed kindness. Every time I loved purely. Every time I held a friend's hand when they broke. Those moments. They lit up like stars in a vast constellation, and God whispered, "This is what I see. This is what matters." I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to return to a world where people weaponize faith like a sword, where kids grow up thinking they're an abomination for something they never chose. But the voice said something I will never forget. Go back, tell them the truth, that I never asked them to choose between me and who they are. I am found in the authenticity of their hearts, not in the boxes others try to force them into. And just like that, I gasped awake. The doctors said it was a miracle. 34 minutes without a heartbeat and no brain damage. But I came back different. I couldn't stay silent. I lost friends who said I was delusional. Some said it was just a hallucination. But I know what I saw. I know who I met. I don't care if anyone believes me. I was dead. And in that death, I learned that God is not the gatekeeper people make him out to be. He is the arms flung open, the welcome mat stained with tears, the divine whisper that says, "You are mine, always have been, always will be. So if you've ever felt like there's no place for you in heaven because of who you love, who you are, let me be the one to tell you. There is. And it's more beautiful than you can imagine. You are loved. You always were. And nothing, not even death, can separate you from that truth. In the days that followed my return, everything felt surreal. I would lie in bed at night, staring at the ceiling, replaying every second of those 34 minutes in the light. I wasn't afraid of death anymore, but I was terrified of life, of living in a world that still hadn't heard the truth I now carried in my bones. I had seen the divine. I had been held in it. And now, I had to live differently. The first thing I did was call my mother. We hadn't spoken in 6 years, not since I told her I was gay, and she cried like I had confessed to murder. Her voice shook when she answered. "Hi," I said. "It's me." Silence. Then a sob. "I thought I lost you." "You did," I whispered. "For 34 minutes. And then I told her everything. The light, the presence, the voice that shattered shame like glass. She cried quietly while I spoke. I didn't ask her to believe me. I just needed her to hear it. When I finished, there was a long pause. Then she said, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." We cried together. For the years lost, for the silence, for the boy I had been who needed love, not correction. I started going to different churches. I didn't go to debate or to protest. I just sat there and listened. Some were beautiful, inclusive places where love bloomed in every pew. Others still clung to fear like a lifeboat. In one church, a man told me, "You were deceived. That wasn't God. God would never say that." I smiled, not angrily, not with sarcasm, just peacefully. "Then you've never met him. Because once you stand in that light, once your soul is laid bare before the source of all love, no one can scare you with fire again." The visions didn't stop. In dreams, I kept returning to that field of glass grass, to the wind that spoke in memories. I saw people like me walking toward the light, weeping as they dropped the weights they'd carried their whole lives. Shame, fear, lies spoken in pulpits and playgrounds. And every time, God met them with joy, not judgment. One night, I saw a boy barely 16 standing at the edge of that field, shoulders trembling. He looked just like I had, afraid, unsure, ashamed of a love he hadn't chosen but couldn't shake. I walked to him, held his hand. "You're home," I said. "There's nothing wrong with you." He cried into my chest. When I woke up, I was crying too. I decided to speak publicly. It wasn't easy. I lost more friends. A few distant relatives said I was possessed. But something beautiful happened too. A woman messaged me. "My son came out last week. I was so scared. But your story gave me peace. Thank you." A teenage boy wrote, "I was going to end it. Then I saw your video. I prayed for the first time in years. I wasn't a prophet. I wasn't a saint. I was just a man who had died for 34 minutes and had finally woken up to the truth. God is not who they told us he was. He doesn't sit on a throne tallying sins like a cruel accountant. He doesn't turn away from rainbow flags or whispered love letters between boys. He doesn't flinch when we break, when we cry, when we scream, 'Why did you make me like this?' Because he made us. Every piece, every flaw, every glorious color of the spectrum. And he called us good. I don't know why I was brought back, why I saw what I saw, why I was told to share it. But I know this. If you're reading this and you've ever sat in the dark thinking you don't belong, that you're too far gone, too different, too flawed to be worthy of heaven, let me say this to you. You already belong. You were always enough. The gates were never closed. They were just waiting for you to see they were open all along. 34 minutes. That's all it took to rewrite eternity in my heart. And now, I carry it with me, not just as memory, but as mission.